Hello and welcome back to Dad Got This. Today, we are making a smoked prime rib. Not just any smoked prime rib, an herb garlic butter crusted smoked prime rib. That sounds fantastic. Let's do that. Now, I've made prime rib many a times. I've made it in the oven, I've made it on my kettle grill, I've made it on my charcoal grill, I've made it on my propane grill, but I've never made it in my Ninja Woodfire Grill. So this is a first for me. So I'll be playing with some temperatures, I'll be playing with some pellets. We want to get the best we can get out of this little machine. Speaking of this little machine, that is my Ninja Woodfire Grill. Ninja sent me that. I didn't have to pay for it. I didn't have to send it back. However, they don't get any input on any of my videos. I just wanted to be upfront and honest about that. You can do with whatever you want with that information that you want. That doesn't make any English sense, but I'm gonna say that anyway. I'm in that kind of mood today. I'm in a prime rib mood. Let's make some prime rib. This is a stupid simple recipe. Let's get to it. The first thing you're gonna need is a medium old prime rib. I was gonna say big old, but you can't get big old in that thing. There is some limitations to that. It doesn't fit gigantic things. Height is one of your main issues. So I had to get something that was not too big. This is about a 7-pounder, 6.86 pounds to be exact. Fun thing about prime rib, it's not really anything other than ribeye steaks in their form, not cut up. They don't even have to be prime cut. You could get choice grade ribeye steaks in a roast and still technically call it prime rib when you cook it. Somebody remember the weight, because it's gonna come into factor on how long we have to cook this thing. This is what they call a prime rib. This is a 3-bone prime rib, or rib roast, because it's got 1, 2, 3 of the bones. We'll get a good amount of steak out of this for our little family. My butcher, AKA my local grocer, has already tied this for me. Why have they done that? It just kind of keeps everything together when you roast this, because you can actually have this thing start falling apart on you when you smoke it, roast it, whatever you're gonna do to it. We are gonna smoke it. But before we do that, we gotta season it up a little bit. And to do that, we're gonna use some of those fresh herbs that are growing behind me. When you do an herb crust like this, I like to use what they call the harder herbs. So we're gonna use a little bit of fresh rosemary, and I think maybe we'll throw in some oregano. Those will be good, and they'll be nice and hearty, and they'll last through the smoke. So let's go get some rosemary and some oregano. This is my little herb garden. I call it mine. It's more my wife's. She's more the plant person. She takes care of most of this stuff. I help. Don't really help, but I help. And I'm gonna take some of this lovely rosemary and oregano. We'll use it in our recipe. A quick snip, snip, a quick rinse, and those are ready to go. Now, let's season up our rib roast here. For that, we're gonna go with some coarse sea salt. This is a big chunk of meat, so you can kind of go heavy because all your seasoning's on the outside and the people in the middle aren't gonna get a lot of seasoning, so you can go heavy on this. Should actually probably put my gloves on. You can even kind of roll it on the board, pick up salt from the board. Whatever you need to do to get that salt on there, and that's great. Black pepper. I use this little pepper grinder. It works pretty well for me. Now there's a part I'm having a hard time getting to, so I'm just gonna sprinkle some pepper there on the board and roll it into it. Pardon the sweating, it is hot out here. You can see I kind of skipped this bone side. There's no point in seasoning it. It's not touching any of the meat. It's probably gonna get carved off when I serve anyway, so what's the point? Perfect, we've got some seasoning on this. We're gonna set this aside, let it just kind of rest a little bit while we prepare our herb butter to go on here. It's so hot. Let's take all this lovely fresh rosemary, pick the leaves off it if we can. That should be pretty good right there. And then we'll do the same thing with all our lovely oregano. If you are not lucky enough to have access to fresh herbs like this, you can go ahead and use dried herbs. It'll still taste fantastic. It just will not taste as good as mine. Now we're just gonna take all this and we're gonna mince it like badly, but in a good way. That's the goal. Mainly small chunks with a couple big ones that have snuck in there. Get yourself a stick of butter. You can throw it in the microwave, or you can just bring it outside in the Florida heat. Take all your lovely herbs. You can pick up some of that salt and pepper from the board. It's not gonna hurt it. And we're just gonna mash this into the butter. The softer your butter, the easier this is. Herb butter. We'll set this aside and let's get the smoker ready. For today's smoke, we're gonna be using the Kona Pellets. I recently did an entire video on using pellets and what pellets work in the Ninja Woodfire Grill. Go check it out. These are some of my favorites. These are the Kona brand pellets. I have a link down in the description for them, and we're gonna go with oak. I think oak really pairs well with prime rib. It gives it a nice flavor. So we're gonna use these, and it's really simple to set up the Ninja Woodfire Grill. On the side, you have a little pellet hopper. I have like no pellets left from my last smoke, so we'll just dump out the little bit of ash that's left there. We will grab a full hopper of pellets and give it the dad shake. This gives it a little bit of space around the pellets and gives it a better, cleaner burn, in my opinion. It may do absolutely nothing, but I do it every time. Goes right in on the side there. Next, we need to put in our drip pan, because there should be some drippings. It is a simple little aluminum pan. You cover it with some tin foil so you don't stain it worse than I have already. And it just slides right into the back of the unit. Really simple. A prime rib usually takes about 35 minutes a pound at 250 degrees. However, I have noticed something while cooking on this wood fire grill. It tends to cook faster than quoted temperatures for normal smokers. So that's the temperature for a normal smoker. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually cook my prime rib here at 200 degrees, not 250 degrees. And we'll see how long it takes. 250 degrees for a 7-pound prime rib is a little bit short of 4 hours. We're gonna see how long this takes. Cooking prime rib is a 2-stage process in a smoker. First, you have to smoke it to get it to kind of like close to your internal temperature. Then you have to find a way to put a crust on it. Usually you'll kick your smoker up to the highest temperature it goes to and then stick it in there and get your crust. We're gonna put this on the air crisp mode, I think, and do our crust that way. So you're gonna have to count for that, sear time and temp, when you pick your temperature to pull your roast the first time. So we're gonna pull ours around 120 or 122. We're shooting for like 134 perfect medium rare final temperature. So we are gonna set this to the smoker temperature. We're going to 200, and we are gonna go 5 hours as a just in case. We have our wood fire button on. You can tell because it has the flame, and we're gonna hit start. That's it. This thing will start heating up and it'll tell us when it is ready to cook. Let's go ahead and finish the prep of our prime rib. Our prime rib has been sitting in this salt for a little while. You can see the salt has already started to kind of penetrate the prime rib, and that's what we want. Our butter has already started to melt in the heat. Now, we're gonna start putting our butter all over our prime rib. Don't be shy, folks. Get it in there. Massage it. Be friendly with your food. And if you got a little left over, why not? We can hit the bones. It's extra. Let them have a little love. Not gonna help, but it also won't hurt. That looks wonderful. Once this comes up to temp, we're gonna stick it on there, and then it's a waiting game, sort of. We have one more step, and it is probably the most important step, in my opinion, when you're cooking something like this. Need new gloves. This is a wireless digital meat thermometer. This one's from Armator. I just did a video on these, and they're pretty darn cool. What this allows you to do is we're gonna stick it in here. It is gonna continuously monitor the interior temperature of our prime rib, and it is gonna tell us exactly when we need to pull it out of the smoker. Otherwise, you are guessing. The time and temperature that I told you, the 35 and the temp, that is a rough estimate. There are so many variables that can affect it. The temperature of your meat, the size of your meat, how much fat's in your meat, the muscle fibers of your meat. How calibrated is your cooker? Is 200 on your cooker really 200? Is it 222? Is it 228? Guessing is not the way to go for your food. Knowing is the way to go. So you get yourself one of these and it'll tell you exactly what to do and when to do it. Now, if you don't want to do that, at least get yourself a Thermapen and stick a hole in this thing every once in a while so you know what temperature you got going on. The reason I don't like doing that is because you're constantly sticking holes in it and juice pours out. And I feel like you lose juiciness that way. This way, there's one hole in there, it never comes out, the juice doesn't leave. I like using the wireless one, and it's kind of techy and nerdy. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. You wanna put it in the thickest part right in the middle. And that's it. Smoker's ready. Let's get our meat on the smoker. Is it tall enough? Is it gonna fit without hitting? Okay, it kinda hits, which is stopping us from actually cooking. We need to do some configuring. I don't want to take the bones out because they are going to protect it from heat on the bottom. I wish I had something where I could crack the bones and it would lay flatter. But I'm wondering if there's maybe like a section where... Here's the deal. It is just too tall. I had to separate the bones from the ribeye, and we're going to have to tie them with a gap where the ribeye and the bones are a little off center so that it's spread out a little bit and it should fit. I tested it, seemed like it's gonna fit. I tried cracking the bones, they're too thick. Not gonna happen. So this is our best bet. Should work, I hope. We'll see. More streamline. Let's see if she fits. We fit. That is my biggest complaint about this. They should have made it taller. I don't think that would have been too hard to give me 2 inches more, guys. Ninja, two inches more of height. Come on. But we gotta make a horseradish cream sauce because that's what I like to eat my prime rib with.
Throw a pan over medium-high heat with a little bit of vegetable oil in it. Throw in 3 tablespoons of minced garlic and cook it till it just starts to brown. Add in 1/4 cup of horseradish. At this point, you can turn off the heat and add in a cup of sour cream. Now we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of fresh ground black pepper, and some grated Pecorino Romano cheese. Stir it up till it's well mixed, and your sauce is done. You enjoying this video? Well, there's a few simple things you can do to help me out. 1, you could subscribe if you're not already. 2, you could give the video a like and hit that bell. All right?
We are at about 2.5 hours in. The prime rib is 115 degrees. It is a little bit under what I want to pull it at, but I got some storm clouds and some wind coming in, so I think I need to pull it now. We'll get the rest in the sear and crusting portion. So let's see how this thing looks. Ooh, smoky goodness. Let's put on my high temp gloves. It's a little tight getting a latex glove over these, but you can do it. And then you can handle pretty much any kind of barbecue you want and not burn yourself. Now, the Woodfire Grill is an outdoor grill. It can get a little wet, but it can't get soaking wet. Like, I don't want to be out here in a pouring rain trying to finish this prime rib. Looks good. I've had to refill the hopper on this thing maybe 3 times with pellets to get it through this 2.5 hour cook. I just keep kind of topping it off as I keep looking. It's still got some pellets in there. Probably should get it through the sear. Probably should get us through the sear. For the sear and the crust, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kick this bad boy up to 400 degrees on the air crisp setting, and that should give us our nice roasted exterior. Oh, it goes to 450. We'll go 450. Now, the highest temperature you can get out of anything in this is 500 on the broil setting. I'm afraid that that's gonna be too hot. So we're gonna go 450, air crisp. We're gonna turn on the wood fire, even though it's already got all the smoke it's gonna need. And 15 minutes will be enough. Hit start, and let's let this thing come to temp. We'll see you in a few minutes. I'm going to just double check with my good old Thermapen some temps and see where this is. Yeah, it's like 118 already at the middle here. We are good to go. Tent it with some foil, wait for that to come up to temp, and finish it. And then we can eat. I like eating. The weather is playing with me. It's raining, it's not raining, it's windy, there's thunder, the sun comes out. So we are in kind of panic mode to figure out and get this thing done. I'm skipping the high temp gloves and I'm just going straight to rubber gloves and hoping that my dead fingers are enough to be able to just quickly move this over here. It's gonna go in there until it reaches about 130. Once it reaches 130, we're gonna take it out and let it rest until it reaches its final temp of 135. By then, we should have a nice little crust on the outside, and then it'll be ready to eat, which I want to do after I waste a bunch of time taking photos of it and video of it. It's ready. At 450, it was only minutes in there, like 3 or 4 before we are pretty much already hitting our 130 degree temp. It is jumping quick. So we're gonna take it out because I do not want to overcook it. And now it is too hot for me to hold with just these gloves, but I'm gonna still do that. That was hot. Hot, but I did it. This looks fantastic. Let it rest for a few minutes. Let the juices redistribute. Take some photos, slice and eat. We beat the rain, we got the temp. This looks fantastic. Let's give it a taste. All right, I'm gonna go for a little bit of the section with the rare, and I'm gonna dip it in some of my garlic cream horseradish sauce. Full disclosure, I was supposed to put garlic on, there goes my tinfoil. I'll get that later. I was supposed to put garlic on the outside crust, but I absolutely forgot. Hence, I made a garlic cream horseradish sauce. Let's give it a try. Oh my God. That is melt in your mouth tender. The garlic cream sauce is amazing. That is a glob of fat. We'll put that down. Made a little bit of piece of this just to do. Try it just without the sauce. Try it just by itself. Oh. Oh my God. Smoky, tender, salty, you get the herbiness. It's got butter. That's amazing. That's very good. You have to try that. Now, make sure you are aware of the height. You might have to do like I did, where you cut the bones off, slide them to the side so you can get this thing nice and low. I don't think it deterred the quality of the product at all here at the end. I'm gonna take a piece here of the crust. Like a crusty bit from the end. Oh. Slow roasted prime rib is my favorite meal in the world. And I can make it on this little electric thing. It's amazing. You can make it on any smoker you have. You can make it in the oven. You could do this 100% in your oven, 200 degrees, do the whole rub. Throw a little bit of liquid smoke in there if you want. Everything. It will come out pretty darn good. Won't come out as good as real smoke, but it'll come out pretty darn good. This is the real taste test that matters.
Hi.
That's dinner tonight.
I'm hungry. I want now.
Well, Dad may have to go carve this up for dinner, but...
Dad doesn't do outro, so that's it. Bye!
What she said.
If you enjoyed that video, why not throw Dad a good old like and subscribe and do the notification thing, or leave me a comment about what your favorite part of this video was. That would really help Dad out, and you can go check out one of these other videos. I'm sure they're fantastic. I mean, I made them, so I'm pretty sure they're fantastic. All right, yeah, do that stuff.